Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. This is video presentation CHM361. In this video, we will talk about coordination complex. Our objective for this video is to define coordination complex and key related term. Second is to describe the ligand types, coordination number and geometry. Third is we want to explain the bonding theory such as valence bond theory (VBT) and crystal field theory (CFT). Fourth is the identify the common isomerism in coordination. And fifth, we want to understand the application coordination complex in the real world. So first of all, I want to explain what is the coordination complex. So the coordination complex, also known as a coordination compound, play an essential role in chemistry, biology, and industry. They consist of central metal ion that surrounded by molecule or ion that called ligands. These complexes influence the color of compound, catalytic behavior, biological functions such as oxygen transport, and many industrial processes. By understanding their structure and bonding, it helps explain why certain metals behave uniquely and how chemists design the catalysts, drugs, and material.
So, what exactly is a coordination compound? Think of it as a chemical partnership. It consists of a complex ion and a counter ion that work together to maintain electrical neutrality. In the center, we have a transition metal ion which is bonded to a surrounding group of molecules or ions called ligands. If you look at the example on the screen, chlorocobalt 3 chloride, everything inside the square bracket is the coordination sphere. The chloride ions outside the brackets are the counter ions which balance out the overall charge of the complex. Now, let's zoom into the coordination sphere to see how these bonds actually work. First, we have the central metal. This is usually a transition metal like cobalt, chromium, or iron. In this relationship, the metal acts as a Lewis acid, meaning it is an electron pair center. The ligands are the partners. These can be neutral molecules or an ion that act as Lewis bases, donating their electron pairs to the metal. Finally, we have the coordination number, or usually we call it as CN. This represents the total number of coordinate bonds formed between the central metal and the ligands. It tells us how many attachments the metal has, which determines the shape of the molecule. Not all ligands bond in the same way. We categorize them by their denticity, which literally comes from the word for teeth, referring to how many times they bind or bond to the metal. First, we have monodentate ligands, like water or ammonia bond through a single donor atom. Second, we have bidentate ligands, such as ethylene diamine, EN, are more complex. They bond through two donor atoms simultaneously. Third, we have polydentate ligands, like EDTA, are heavy hitters that can bond through 3 or more atoms. We also have ambidentate ligands. These are unique because they are monodentate but have a choice. They can bond through one of two different donor atoms, such as the nitrogen or the sulfur in a thiocyanic ion. This brings us to a very important concept, chelate and stability. When bidentate or polydentate ligands wrap around a metal, they are called chelating agents. Think of this like a claw-like grip. For example, when ethylene diamine bonds, it forms a stable ring structure with the metal. This leads to the chelate effect. Simply put, complex ions formed with chelating ligands are significantly more stable than those formed with similar monodentate ligands. This ring structure makes the bond much harder to break, providing the complex with superior chemical stability.
And now we are going to talk about coordination numbers. Coordination numbers are number of donor atoms bound to the central atom. So when there is 2 number of donor atoms bound to the central atom, its coordination number is 2, which we call linear. When there is 4 number of donor atoms, the coordination number is 4, which we call tetrahedral. And when there is 6 number of donor atoms bound to the central atom, its coordination number is 6, which we call octahedral. Now octahedrals are the most common coordination numbers in complex compounds. In the previous slides, we have discussed about different types of ligands. Now, these different types of ligands can correspond to a different coordination number. For example, if the metal ion is bonded with a bidentate ligand, its coordination number becomes 2. Let's look at an example. Dichlorobis En cobalt 3 has 6 coordination number despite having 4 atoms. Since En is a bidentate ligand, it donates 2 atoms. So now it has a 2 coordination number. 1 En corresponds to a 2 coordination number. Now another example is a hexadentate ligand, which is a ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, or in other words, EDTA. Now, one EDTA has a 6 coordination number, so different types of ligands have different corresponding coordination number.
I will explain about valence bond theory. Bonding theories are used to explain how atoms bond together in coordination compounds and to predict their structure and properties. Two important bonding theories are valence bond theory and crystal field theory (CFT). Valence bond theory explains bonding through orbital overlap and hybridization, such as sp3, sp2, and d2sp3. It is useful for predicting the geometry of complex. However, VBT is limited because it cannot explain color and magnetic properties of transition metal complex. For crystal field theory (CFT), describes the splitting of d orbitals caused by ligands. This theory explains the color of transition metal complex and can also predict high spin and low behavior based on ligand strength. Weak ligands cause small orbital splitting leading to high spin complex, while strong ligands cause large splitting resulting in low spin complex. In conclusion, VBT explains geometry, while CFT explains color and magnetism, making both theories important in coordination chemistry.
Okay, now let's start to the isomers. We have structural isomers and stereoisomers. For the structural isomers, we have hydrate, ionization, linkage, and coordination sphere. And for the stereoisomers, we have geometric and optical. For the first structural isomers, we have hydrate. The definition is occurs when compounds have the same molecular formula but differ in the number of water molecules coordinated to the metal ion and the number present as water of crystallization. For the example, we have this example. Next, let's talk about ionization. The definition is occurs when a ligand inside the coordination sphere exchanges position with a counter ion outside the coordination sphere, producing different ions in solution. The example is here, which is the first one is Br is inside and SO4 is outside. Then they will exchange position, which is SO4 is inside and Br is outside. Next, we go to linkage. The definition is occurs when an ambidentate ligand can coordinate to the metal through different donor atoms. The example is here. We have NO2 and can be exchanged to ONO, and we have SCN that can be exchanged to NCS. Next, we go to coordination sphere. The definition is the coordination sphere consists of the central metal ion and all ligands directly bonded into it, enclosed in square brackets. For example, is here the coordination sphere, which is CONH3 6 3 plus, and counter ion is 3Cl minus. So the species inside the bracket do not ionize, while species outside bracket ionize in solution. Now let's talk about geometric. The definition is differ in the relative positions of ligands. They occur mainly in square planar and octahedral complexes. So for the first geometric, we have square planar complexes. For the example is diamine dichloroplatinum 2. And we have cis and trans. For cis isomer, it will be similar ligands that are adjacent to each other, which is 90-degree angle. And for trans isomer, which is similar ligands that are opposite to each other, which is 180-degree angle. Now let's talk about the next geometry, which is octahedral complexes. We have MA4B2 type, two identical ligands B, which can be cis and trans. For cis, B ligands are adjacent to each other, which is 90 degree, and for trans, B ligands are opposite to each other, which is 180 degrees. For example, is CON2Cl2 plus, which is violet or green compound. Now for the next geometry, we have octahedral complexes and MA3B3 type, which are 3 identical A plus 3 identical B, which can turn into FAC or MER. For FAC, which is facial, can turn into 3 similar ligands occupy one face of octahedron. And for MER, which is meridonian, 3 similar ligands in a meridian around the equator. Now let's take a look on optical. The definition is a complex is optically active if it is chiral, which is non-superimposable on its mirror image, like left and right. Hence, most common in octahedral complexes with bidentate ligands that create a propeller-like structure. For example, is CON2Cl2+, which is dichlorobis ethylene diamine cobalt 3 ion, which we can see here, which is they use the cis, which is adjacent to each other. Now for the applications, let's start from biological applications, which is hemoglobin, Fe porphyrin complex. The iron 2 ion at the center of the heme porphyrin ring binds and transports oxygen in blood. Each hemoglobin molecule contains 4 heme groups, which can be seen here. For the next example of biological applications, which is chlorophyll, Mg complex, magnesium ion is coordinated in a porphyrin-like ring, enabling plants to absorb light energy for photosynthesis. The next application is industrial applications. Catalysts such as Wilkinson's catalyst, RH-base, which for the example is RHCl PTH3, a square planar rhodium-1 complex is widely used for homogeneous hydrogenation of alkenes and alkynes in organic synthesis. Now for the medicinal applications, which is cisplatin used in chemotherapy. Cis PTCl2NH32 is a square planar platinum complex. It binds to DNA, cross-linking strands and inhibiting cancer cell divisions. The trans isomer is inactive. Last but not least for the applications, we have analytical applications. EDTA used in complex somatic titration, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, which is EDTA4-, forms very stable 1-to-1 octahedral complexes with many metal ions, such as Ca2+, Mg2+, and Fe3+, used for quantitative determination of metal ions via titration with indicator like areochrome black tea.
What can be concluded from our presentation is coordination complex, or known as coordination compounds, are an important class of compounds formed by a central metal ion bonded to surrounding ligands through coordinate covalent bonds. The nature of the metal ion, ligands, coordination number, and geometry determines the properties and behavior of these complexes. Coordination compounds play a vital role in many areas, including biological systems such as hemoglobin, industrial catalysts, medicine, and analytical chemistry. By understanding coordination complex help us explain their structures, stability, color, magnetic properties, and reactivity. Therefore, the study of coordination compound is essential for advancing both theoretical knowledge and practical application in chemistry. That's all from us. I hope you guys can gain more knowledge about coordination complex from our presentation. Thank you for watching.